Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Rob, and today I'm doing a review for the Phenyx Pro wireless microphone system. All right, so today what we have the Phenyx Pro PTU-7000. You can see what all came in the box here. We've already unboxed it, but just to kind of start off with the smallest thing first is they give you a Phenyx Pro sticker. There's your manual. If you're like me, you probably never read them until you come upon something you don't know, and they're usually in there, so keep that. That's important. Gives you your power supply. Gives you batteries for each microphone, that's cool. And it gives you some feet as well for the bottom of your unit. And you have your 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch cable. It's just mono, and it also gives you an adapter as well for one of those down to a 3.5 millimeter. I'll move some of these things out of the way as we go through them. Next, we'll look at your antennas. They give you the swivel. These are BNC, so swivel mounts. So these are nice to have. Then we'll take a look at your actual microphones. You have your 4-pack mic in this system. We'll look at those a little more closely in a moment. And then we have the actual Phenyx Pro system here. And what I've noticed, the very first thing is the face of this unit. It's rack mountable, and these are not rack mounted ears. These are actually a part of the face. So this face plate is all one piece. So you cannot remove these, which is okay with me. And it also gives you, I don't know if these are for wires, for grips, or what these are actually for, but they're nice. They're like a hard plastic. They feel pretty good. The unit itself is metal, so it's a nice feeling unit. It has some heftiness to it. Have your power button on each of your microphones. You have your up, your set, and your down. That's for each one. So you have 4 mics. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course you have your volume, and these you can feel like each. You can feel it move. So when you turn it up and down, you can kind of feel where you're at. So that's nice. And you have your IR as well. So that's for setting your frequency. And as we look at the back, what's really nice is, and I knew this before they sent this to me, this is not a paid review. But I did receive this from them to do the review. So yes, I did get this, but I'm not being paid by them. So I'm going to give an honest review of the Phenyx Pro. One thing I really like, a lot of less expensive microphones, they do not have the XLR outputs, where this one does. It has an XLR per channel. And then it also has your mix out, which is your 1/4 inch, which is what this cable would be for. And then it has your BNC antenna connections per microphone. So you have your antenna A, B, C, D, and your XLR 1, 2, 3, 4. Like on your balanced output, it'll say balanced 1, 2, and so number 1 is actually A. So if you're looking for like, well, what antenna is number 1? Well, it's A. So your antenna is A, B, C, D. Your microphones are 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's get into one of the microphones. And something I forgot too is these things. I never knew what to call these things. I always thought that they would be more like an anti-cup. So if you push them all the way to the top, your hand can't go up onto the head of the mic, which you don't want to cup your mic. But if you look in the instructions, or on the back of the box, it says that they are an anti-roll. I've never used these things before. That's beside the point. So let's go ahead and look at the Phenyx Pro microphone itself. Now, there's a few things that I noticed. Number one, the mic that I'm using right now is a Shure SM58. The reason I'm using a 58 instead of what I normally use is so that when I switch over to the Phenyx Pro wireless microphone, you'll get a good baseline difference. So if there's any difference, you'll hear it. The 58 is something that a lot of churches use, a lot of singers use on stage. So we're using that as a baseline microphone. So it looks very similar. The heads are very similar on these mics. But the first thing that I noticed with this is it's metal construction, all the way down to the very tip. The tip of it is not metal, it's plastic. This is probably where the antenna is in the transmitter. But the other thing that I noticed right off the bat is the IR, so we can set the frequency. Now, we have some older Phenyx Pros that we've used, and on those, I'm thinking those are probably 5 or 6 years old, maybe. And they are the 4-pack, the same system as this, but I don't know the model number of them. It's an older system. I've never been able to change or figure out if we even can change the frequency, because when you turn it off, the frequency is still on the display. That's changed on this Phenyx Pro system. There's a really good upgrade on it where you can change your frequency. So if we look into where the batteries are, this is where your batteries would go. And this comes off as well. Now, I don't know if you can buy a different color to where you can maybe, color code your microphones, but this tip comes off as well. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but that's the only thing that's plastic on the housing. It's a heavy microphone. There's no batteries in it yet. It feels very heavy, so it feels very hefty. Feels good in my hand. It's a good feeling microphone. So let's go ahead and get everything set up, and we'll do a run through of each microphone to see how they sound. I don't have any audio processing on this 58, and we're not going to have any audio processing on these. So it's just going to be a baseline microphone, baseline signal, so you can hear the differences between the 58 and then the Phenyx Pro. All right, something really quickly too is I'm just noticing as I put the batteries in that they're not difficult to pull out. Now, there's some microphones when you put your batteries into them, they're difficult to pull the batteries back out. This one does not seem to be that way. So good job, Phenyx Pro. I appreciate that the batteries aren't difficult pulling out of there. All right, let's go ahead and put on the antennas real quick, and they just slide on easy. If you're not used to BNC connectors, there's a couple little stubs here and here that you can feel when you put these on, because they don't screw in like a standard coax would. You have to find where those stubs are and then push in, and then you can turn it, and it locks it in place. Something else you don't want to do when you set up your microphone system, you don't want your antennas touching each other or touching anything else. You want them to be separate and just kind of spaced out a little bit. If you're going to rack mount this, it would be nice not to have this on the top, because you don't want your antennas to be sticking out the back this direction. This is one thing I don't like about a lot of different brands is all their antennas are on the back. However, if you look at the front of this, something that I think they have improved on from their old ones is this little hole right here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this little hole right here, you can move your antenna to the front. Now, they don't give this with this unit. You have to buy it extra, but you can buy a small or a short coax that'll go from one antenna and mount it onto the front. So with that, you have to look in the instruction because you only have 2 antennas here and they've given you 4 antennas. So you have to look in your instructions on how you would want to only use 2 antennas if you can with this unit. With many of our systems we've used in the past, different brands, you look in the instructions and it tells you which antennas to use and how you configure them. I'm sure Phenyx Pro will do the same thing. And they also sell a 1U plate for your rack that has spaces for multiple antennas. So there's that option as well. So you can, but you want to be careful not to have an antenna farm when you do that. An antenna farm basically is a lot of different antennas. It's going to give a lot of different, the signals can easily get interrupted with each other. Just it's like a busy highway. So sometimes they can cause some issues. But if you're only using this one system or just a couple systems, you're probably okay with that. Let's go ahead and get our power set up. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it on. Now, without your microphone being on, there's no way to tell which mic you have. So you'll have to turn it on first and figure out which one you have, and then if you want to label them, you can do that. Okay, the first mic I picked up, check 1. This is actually channel number 1. So it looks like after you turn it on, the backlight does not stay lit. It goes out. There's no indicator here to tell you that the microphone is on. So it is still on. I can see the signal here on the receiver, but on the transmitter, if somebody turns this on and just lays it down, I don't know if this microphone is on until I pick it up. Check, check, still on. Check, check, there's our mute. Check 1. Okay, so we're back on. All right, so the operation of this, I like the button that it's not easily pressed. So in some microphones, and I'll just bring this up, hopefully you can see it here. Some microphones is the button kind of protrudes out a little bit from the mic, and it's very simple to push the button in. This one is not that way. So if I grip this microphone, I would have to grip it pretty hard to actually push the button in. So I've got, it's kind of indented there, if you can see that little bit of an indent. I push it in one time, and all it does is bring the backlight on. Push it one more time, and now we're muted. Push it one more time, and now we're back on. Push to hold, it goes off. So that's one thing that I see about this mic that I don't like, is that the backlight completely goes off and there's nothing on the microphone to tell me that it's on or off. Myself, I prefer a switch rather than a button, because the button can be pressed pretty easily and you can't look at it to know if it's on or off. I prefer to see a switch on it to where even if the backlight goes off and there's no indicator on it, I can see that which position the switch is in, and I know if the microphone's on or off if there's nothing on it. So with this system, the only way to know is by pressing the button, and there's not just a quick looking at it, glancing at it, and knowing and doing whatever action you need. So is it a problem? No, not really. But is it a preference issue for me? Yeah, it would be. That's something that I don't like about that one. But would it prevent me from buying them? Probably not. After I look at the price point, and we'll talk about the price later on in the video. But after looking at the price point and how well they perform, then I would take a look at those little things like that and decide, is it really worth it, or is that something that I don't like really that much. But the microphone itself feels great in my hand. Let's go to channel number 2 and see which one channel 2 is. We'll call channel 1 black. So we'll see which one this is. Check 1, check, check, check. This looks like channel 4. And it's already set. I don't have to do anything at all to them, so they come preset, it looks like. Let me mute this first. And the mute does have a indicator on it, so you can tell when you're muted and when your mute comes back on. So here's our Shure 58. And here's our Phenyx Pro. Phenyx Pro, Shure 58. All right, there's channel 4. Let's see if we can find channel 2 or 3 here. Check 1, 2. This is channel number 2. Something I want to test real fast is handling noise. Now, if you have somebody who is they handle their microphone a lot, they clap a lot, or they move their hands a lot, or they fiddle with things a lot. What's this sound like to you? Can you hear my fingernails on this? Can you hear just my hand or my ring hitting the metal? Is it insulated from other sounds? Someone's clapping and they're hitting it. What's this doing? Of course, we teach people, don't clap with your microphone, don't hit the microphone, but people do it anyway. So how well is this microphone going to handle something like that? So let's go ahead and jump over to the last microphone and see how it does right out of the box. All right, and here's mic number 3 of 4. So everything is working straight out of the box. I did not have to set anything. Now, if this is the only system you have, right out of the box, it's going to work fine for you. You're not going to have to do anything at all. They're all on separate channels. Now, if you have other systems, then you will need to see what are your other systems on, and you can use the IR function, which just look in your instructions. It's very simple to do that. Just set where you want your frequency on your receiver and hold your IR up to the IR here on your receiver, and it will link the two together. So that's a good function there that they brought in. All right, so let's take a look at the lock function really quickly. I went ahead and turned it on. To turn it on or off, you press and hold the set up button. Now, I only locked channel 1. You would do that with each individual channel. But when you lock it, you hold it for 2 seconds, and you can see L on comes on. And then if I try to do anything else, if I try to turn anything on, if I try to set anything, it says that I'm locked. So if I try to change the set point and I keep trying to change something, it tells me that L on, which means lock is on. So then you can't accidentally change something. So press and hold for 2 seconds. LOF comes on, which means L off, and now you can change your settings. When you have your backlight on, there's a battery indicator. It tells you your group number and your channel number. So so this would be if you have 4 singers and you don't have these labeled, 1, 2, 3, 4. The way that you would have to push that quick and release, that just turns the backlight back on. And this tells them they're on group 11, channel number 3. And then you can look on the front and see what is group 11, where is channel 3, and you'll know which microphone is which. All right, just for a test here, we're on number 3. I'm just going to take my volume up and down a little bit. You might hear it clip. I'm going to go down first. I've preset these to about 50%. So I'm going to turn it all the way down. Just kind of slowly down, slowly down, slowly down. Now I'm only using the 58 right now. We're all the way down. So let's come up slowly. Coming up. Bring the volume up. Bring the volume up. We're at 50% where we were. I'm going to max it out, so it might get weird for you here in a moment. Up, that's max. All right, back down to our original place of 50%. So you can hear what it sounded like. Like I was saying earlier, I don't have an in-ear in or anything like that, so I don't know if it went up smoothly or if it went up in stages, if it jumped as we move it up. But most generally, once we set our volume here, our mixer is going to be doing all of our volumes. However, one good function with this is if you need that mono output and you need to mix it, you can mix it and then set your levels right here. So you do have that option if need be. But most people that I find, and most, like for myself anyway, I would always put this in a rack. So in the specifications, it says that these should work up to 328 feet. Now, I'm not going to be testing 328 feet because our sanctuary is not that large, but our sanctuary is about 80 feet or so from where we're going to have this unit set up to where I'm going to be standing, where our pastor would normally be standing. And then we'll end up going into the back room just to get a little bit extra footage. So we're probably going to be about 150 feet, something like that. But that's going to be going through some walls. So we're going to do that test just to find out, hey, how does this thing work as someone is walking around, moving around? And right now I'm standing right beside of the receiver. You would not normally see this. I don't know if you guys are hearing any odd type of noises or sounds, but on some systems, when you get very close to the antenna, sometimes you pick up a little bit of interference or a little bit of digital noise or something like that. If you are hearing that, it's probably because we're so close. Here in a moment, you'll hear where we're at our church, more of a realistic test where we're going to put this at our sound booth. I'll be on the stage or on the platform and walk around a little bit, talk just for a couple moments like our pastor may or your pastor may, and we'll see how one of these microphones holds up in a real world scenario. So stay tuned to see the real world test at our church coming up now. All right, so we are here at my local church in Poco, West Virginia, and we have the Phenyx Pro PTU-7000 set up right here at our sound booth. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take a walk around the sanctuary. Then I'm going to go in the back as well. We're just going to test this out. All the way in the back is about 150 feet, something like that. So as I just start walking, I'm just going to continue to talk and see if anything changes. And so I'm just going to just continue talking. I'm probably about 45 feet. Right now, I'm probably about 45 feet away from the receiver. So I'm getting closer to the stage. And we just had worship team practice, so you may see a few of our worship team members still here talking. And so, okay, now I'm on the platform about where pastor would normally be standing when he's preaching. So you guys can hear what this sounds like. Is it sounding pretty good to you? I don't have any in-ears in, so I don't know if it's cutting out at all. I will hear that on the audio. So if you have a pastor who likes to walk around when he's talking, this will be a good test for that. So now let me go ahead and head back in the back, go through some doors, and we'll be talking through some walls, and we'll see if this thing picks up through the walls here. So I'm entering into our conference room. So I'm probably 80 feet is where we're at on the stage. So I'm behind the stage. So we're probably about 100 feet right here, maybe. Let me open this door up real quick. All right, coming into the hallway, and get this light on so we can see a little bit of something. There we go. All right, we're doing a little bit of construction in here, and it smells good. It smells like paint. All right, so let's come all the way back here to the back door. This is the back door of where we're coming to our office area. So I'm gonna guess roughly somewhere around 150 feet right here, somewhere around there, and through walls. So I'm going to go ahead and start coming back into the conference room now. All right, back into the conference room. Getting ready to head into the back foyer, I guess you call it. Now I'm coming back into the sanctuary, and I'll be excited to hear what this sounds like. All right, this is a test of the Phenyx Pro PTU-7000 wireless microphone system. I just done a walkthrough in our church, in our sanctuary. Hopefully that's a good real-world test for you guys. I know we didn't sing with it. I'm just testing vocals or just talking voice only right now. But we have these microphones already, but they're an older version. Like I was saying earlier in the video, there's a few things that we could not do with the older ones that these are allowing us to do. So I can already tell you that for singing, they sound really good. Now our old ones, they started cutting out quite a bit on us probably because of their age. But these things have been doing really well for us. So I'm going to leave a link in the description. And so this concludes our test. I'll come back here in just a moment. I'll let you know my final thoughts on the Phenyx Pro wireless microphone system. So stay with me for a couple more minutes. Okay, so I'm back with the conclusion of the Phenyx Pro microphones after I'd done the test at church, and I walked around with it a little bit and listened back to the audio and listened to everything. I did notice, you'll notice too, earlier on in the video, and I was talking about handling noise, I heard a lot of handling noise while I was just handling the microphone. So that's something that is a negative on it, but if you know how to handle it, that won't give you a problem. As I walked around the church and around the platform, we didn't have any cutouts, no dropouts. And as I walked all the way back to the back door, didn't have any cutouts or dropouts. You can hear the audio there. Everything seemed to be fine with it. There wasn't any problems. So overall, I mean, there's a couple little things here with, handling noise, and then with the way the display goes off. A couple little things that for me is a negative, but overall there's many more positives. I mean, I believe these microphones at their price point, and earlier in the video I was telling you about, we'll get to the price later. So here we are for roughly right around the $300 price point. I think these things are like $290 something. They're like real close to $300. So for $300, to get 4 microphones in one rack unit, I mean, you can't beat that. That is a very good price point for what you're getting. So if you're looking for an inexpensive wireless microphone set, the Phenyx Pro will definitely work for you. Overall, I'm impressed by them. Now, you can't really compare them to like your Shure and Sennheiser and things like that, because you're getting into a different type of wireless gear at that point. But with the price point of these things, you can't beat them. So with the price point of these things, I think they're well worth what they're asking for. So I think this would be a good purchase. So overall, I'm a fan of the Phenyx Pro. I think they're doing a good job on what they're doing. So I don't think you'd be disappointed in this purchase. Keep checking back on the channel, because later on I'm going to do a comparison video between the cheaper microphone brands and the more expensive microphone brands, and to see what really is the difference. Why can some of these brands be less expensive and some brands be more expensive, and what's the difference between the two? So when you look at them, you compare apples to apples. We really can't do that with the cheaper brands and the more expensive brands. You really need to know what is it that you need, what is your specific needs for your environment, for your church, for your venue, whatever it is you're buying these mics for. And that way you'll know, will these microphones work? If you need like 15 microphones, this may not be the right set for you. But if you need like 2 or 3 mics, or maybe 4 mics, or like in this particular one, you have 4 mics in one space for your rack. Now, if like for us on our mobile gear, that would work perfect for us, because we can have one space on our rack that's taken up, and we can get 4 microphones out of it. So for that, that's a huge benefit. So overall, I'm going to give them just a good positive review on it. I think it's great for what they are. But if you're looking for a lot of different microphones, then you really need to research exactly your specific needs. But if your specific needs is more of on the small venue or just a few microphones, I think the Phenyx Pro would work great for you. So again, overall, I'm impressed. I think they're great. If this video has been beneficial to you, be sure you click the like, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos, and we'll see you guys next time. God bless.